Miss Ruelas doon sa naging pag-cut doon sa inyong pagpapakilala. We apologize for that po. So we are now on the point na po na nagpapakilala po yung ating pong mga panelists. And ang ating pong recognize now is Miss Ruelas. Thank you po. Ma'am, nakamute po kayo. Nakamute po.
Okay, that's okay. Online glitches talaga.
Yes, ma'am. Opo. Sorry po.
No, it's okay. Yun, I just started to say na we opened the first and only farmers market of organically grown produce and naturally processed products. And we reopened na after the pandemic since January. Mm-hmm. And yun, I think we became really busiest throughout the pandemic because we created a grow-it-yourself feeding and gardening program and have brought it to different urban poor communities. We now have about 600 plus new urban gardeners who are feeding themselves and sharing with neighbors, and we're helping them also use it to create livelihood and feed a nation. Yun lang.
Thank you, Ma'am Ruela, sa inyo pong information na kung anong ginagawa po ninyong organization. So maybe before we go to Miss Carla, nakita ko na si Sir Justin. So para unahin natin ulit yung mga nasa taas. So si Sir Justin, so you may open your microphone po and then tell something about yourself and also your organization po. Para alam po namin ang inyong pong ginagawa sa inyong organization. Thank you po, Sir Justin.
Hello, good morning. Yes, unfortunately, sir, hindi po ma-open yung video for me.
I asked to... Okay lang po, sige po.
Hello po ikaw, Sir Justin. Patry po ulit, please.
Yan, okay, Sir Justin. Kita na po namin
kayo. Is it okay na po?
Yes po, yes po. Nakita na namin ang inyong gwapong mukha.
Okay. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, thank you, sir. Good morning. I am Justin Interno from Anahaw, Laguna. Founded it just last year. And we are a campaign advocacy organization that focuses on scientific agriculture, environmentalism, and community development. And by this year, we are already supporting various initiatives from community. And one of the most significant organization that we are partnering with right now is in San Pedro, Laguna, which is the Pasito Organic Garden. It is a group of community members who are from the city who tried to introduce community gardening dun sa community namin. So we are adhering with organic agriculture principles, although we are in the urban area, so we are looking for ways to adhere with standards and expand more of our advocacy and initiatives in organic agriculture.
Thank you for that, Sir Interno. Okay po, so mukhang wala pa rin po si Miss Paes. Tama po ba? Hindi ko pa po siya nakikita. So we go for Miss Carla Delgado, the Earth Leader of the and also maybe owner of the Kai Farms and the Living Library. Sige po, you can open, ma'am, your microphone and even your video so that we can see you.
Hi, Mayadna Temprano from Palawan. That's good morning in Cuyunon. I won't be turning on the video because the connectivity of Smart is not so stable today.
Okay,
thank you very much to Dr. Bess Kalob and everyone who has organized and who is sharing their time today. I am connecting with you from El Nido, where we are landing the Kai Farms energies here. Kai Farms currently is doing permaculture in Silang Cavite, and we have been teaching seed saving and permaculture farming and building food forests and food gardens and working closely with community. We're doing that as well now here in Palawan. We've chosen Palawan as a resilient location because this is the only part of the Philippines without volcanoes and fault lines, and typhoons are much more gentle here. So we're building a resilient community with regenerative agriculture and the healing power of food at its heart, working to create earning opportunities for women empowerment, and also creating opportunities for children to learn about earth care, because we're doing all this for them. They are the future. So just making that connection of earth love and earth care very early. And we're also planting the seeds for an intentional community for people who are ready to live in harmony with nature and to work in partnership with nature. As for the Living Library, I am the network weaver of the Living Library, which is a zero waste educational grocery, which is it's like a zero waste sari store. That's the vision. And we're sourcing the heritage foods, grains, rice, legumes, beans like lumabong from people who don't have access to market, and promoting these heritage foods back into Filipino kitchens.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for that introduction. So now we go to the next panelist, which is Miss Daisy Engle, the director of for R&D of the Century Pacific Foods Incorporated. Yes, ma'am Engle, you may turn on your microphone na po. Or you may press the space bar po, ma'am.
Okay.
Yan. Okay, ma'am. You can
Yeah.
hear you na po.
Okay. So I'm Daisy Engle. I'm the director for R&D for Century Pacific Foods. You may know our company more as a tuna or a meat company because we do canned foods and frozen foods for meat and tuna. But we also have a division that we call the Century Pacific Coconut AgriVentures. So we have we we started that by producing Vita Coco, which is a foreign brand, and we were the second biggest toll manufacturing facility of Vita Coco. So we export that, and we also sell it locally. But now we have other products from our coconut division. So we have the Coco Mama. If you hear about our Coco Mama, the coconut cream, and our coconut products are all from organic coconut farms. But actually, we have some challenges on the organic coconut farms. We started like maybe about 5 years ago. We had like 25,000 hectares of coconut, which were already certified organic. But because some farmers planted corn and some other crops as an intercrop, I think. So we lost like 8,000 hectares of the organic coconuts. Mm-hmm. But we are slowly also adding other farms or convincing our farmers. And for sustainability for our coconut business, we have a promise to plant 100,000 coconuts per year for the next 5 years. We started that this year, 2021. So for the next 5 years, that would be like 500,000 coconuts. And the seedlings are given for free. And we will monitor the growth of the coconuts for the next 3 years at the expense of the company. So that's our sustainability project on coconut. Then actually maybe in our later discussions, I would like also to raise my concern on how we could have like organically sourced ingredients for our other products, because that's we would have wanted to, but that is quite a challenge because of the supply.
Yes, ma'am.
there's not enough supply for what we need. But maybe we could start small. Actually, the first project that I'd like to look into organic farming is glutinous rice,
Yes, ma'am.
because we have a project on glutinous rice, and it would be good if we could have a
Maybe some of our participants here, co-participants can network with you regarding that initiative. Thank you,
yeah,
ma'am,
yeah.
for that information.
Thank you.
Okay, so maybe we go to the next. I haven't seen her screen yet. Miss Soledad Salvador, are you here? So kung wala po, and then sir, pakibalik po ulit sa taas si Miss or Mr. Crescente Paez. Are you already here? So mukhang wala pa po. Okay po. So magpakilala din po kami ng mga co-facilitator ko. So welcome din po pala doon sa ating pong mga ibang kasamang participants in this Action Track 2. Although hindi po namin accommodate na magpakilala po ang lahat kasi po ay medyo limited po ang ating time. Pasensya po. So if you have questions later during the discussion, you can use po the chat box, and one of our co-facilitator may duty on the communication can throw that questions later. If we have time po, we can accommodate those questions para po doon sa iba po nating mga kasamahan dito na participants din for Action Track 2. Okay po, so pakilala po ulit ako. Ako po ulit si Dennis Marvin Santiago. So currently, I'm a professor po dito sa Institute of Food Science and Technology, and I will be your lead facilitator. In terms of research interest po, ang aking research interest is on colored tubers and root crops and also mga indigenous fruits na ginagamit po namin for processing different high-value food products. So yun po yung aking research interest. So next po ay papakilala ko sa inyo si Dr. Vicky Migo, one of the co-facilitator po for this action track. Sige po, ma'am.
Hello, good morning. I am Vicky Migo. I'm from the Department of Chemical Engineering, College of Engineering and Agro-Industrial Technology in UPLB. So I am a chemist by profession, and my research interest now is on wastewater treatment, especially for those coming from food processing industry. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma'am Vicky. So next would be Dr. Rina De Luna. Sige po, ma'am.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I am Rina De Luna. I am a veterinarian, but I also took up organic agriculture lessons from Open University, UP Open University. And currently I am helping communities, specifically in Cabuyao and Cabuyao, Laguna, and Lipa, Batangas, in having their own community gardens. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Ma'am Rina. So our lead documenter who would help us pag-facilitate ng ating discussion later, siya ang ating mag-document ng ating pong lahat ng discussion, si Sir Raymond Buenaseda. Sige, Sir Denver.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Raymond Denver Buenaseda. Galing po ako sa Department of Agricultural and Applied Economics sa SEMPO, UP Los Baños, and I will be the lead documenter for Action Track number 2. So if you have questions po for our participants, you can send your questions via chat box, and ang bahala pong compile ng ating questions would be Miss Mary Ann Abadillos.
Thank you, Sir Denver. Thank you, Sir Denver. So the next is Miss Catherine Gigantone of the SESAM of UPLB, also the co-documenter. Sige, Sir Kat.
Magandang umaga po. I'm Catherine Gigantone. Sorry, I don't have a webcam. Yeah, I'm
Okay lang.
using PC, yes. And I'm from the School of Environmental Science and Management at UPLB, and current research work is on water resource management and assessment. And I will be your co-documenter for today. Thank you po.
Thank you, Kath. So, ang huli po natin ay si Ma'am Mary Ann Abadillos. Sige, ma'am. Mary Ann.
Good morning, everyone. Ako po si Mary Ann Abadillos, a researcher from the Institute of Agroforestry, CFNR UPLB. Thank you po.
Thank you, Ma'am Mary Ann. So siya po ang capture ng lahat ng questions po na ilalagay natin sa chat box. So now we go to the atin pong leveling off. So I will just be presenting one slide just to start the discussion. So the action track, as I have said earlier po, ang title po niya is Shifting to Healthy and Sustainable Consumption Patterns. So in this action track, we need to facilitate a transition in diets towards more nutritious food that require fewer resources to produce and also for transport. So in this action track also, we will work to build consumer demand for sustainably produced food, to strengthen the local value chains, and also to improve nutrition. And for leveling off, I have doon sa ating pong action track, yung discussion po ng sa UN. So meron lang silang pinresent na tatlong global problems. First is the double burden of malnutrition. So as shown po dito sa ating figure, so meron po diyang parang seesaw na kung saan there is an imbalance regarding nutrition. So may mga communities tayo na nagkakaroon ng undernutrition. So yun nandoon yung mga underweight, ang mga bata. So yung skinny sila, stunted. So yun yung nagiging isang problem sa mga communities. On the other hand naman, sa ilang mga communities and countries naman, nagkakaroon naman ng very rampant yung overnutrition naman. So nandyan yung presence ng may mga overweight, may mga obese. So nagkakaroon ng imbalance. So this is the double burden of malnutrition. So both ay mali yung kanilang diet o yung kanilang nutrition na nakukuha. Yung isa nga ay stunted, yung isa naman is overweight. So there is an imbalance with this. And then there is also a problem on increasing food wastage. So as shown by this basurahan na may mga food po na itinapon doon. So ito ay very rampant especially sa mga developed countries due to maybe the low cost of production. Ay nagkakaroon sila ng yung value nila for food din ay hindi ganun kataas. So kaya and I think even sa mga developing countries nag-uumpisa na rin ito na nag-i-increase yung food wastage. So kaya isang problema ito na na-identify. And lastly is the food consumption that also undermine the nature, yung impact nitong food production in terms of yung environment. So yung environmental impact nito. So dito naman may pinilagay lang po tayo na figure ng dalawang pyramid. So alam po natin yung food pyramid sa mga nutritionists especially. And even when we are in our elementary years, tinuturo ito yung ating food pyramid na kung ano yung dapat na pagkain na mas madami nating kainin over doon sa medyo dapat i-limit natin from our diet. At kung makikita natin, yung mga specific food na yon na dapat i-limit din natin, sila yung medyo mataas ang impact sa environment. So yung kanilang environmental impact, yung production noon, ay yun din yung pinakamataas. Tapos yun namang mga medyo dapat mas madami nating kainin, so yun yung medyo mababa naman ang environmental impact nila. So dito makikita natin na yung pagka-design na ito talagang mga gulay, mga food plant-based na pagkain, yun ang dapat nating mas damihan ng pagkain at sila yung mas less ang environmental impact. So yun po yung tatlong na-identify na global problem. So yung vision naman nitong Action Track 2, so gusto ko lang po i-summarize din sa tatlong statement. Una, ito po yung ating magiging somewhat parang output from this discussion later. Una, we should produce some innovative game-changing solutions for shifting food consumption to healthy and sustainable patterns on the table. So mamaya, although initially po tayo mag-identify ng mga issues, concerns, and challenges and even root causes na ating kinakaharap sa ating pong mga different sectors, we will try to find or we will put in mind o yung ating pong mga put into words yung ating mga innovative game-changing solutions. So we will create those solutions and some innovative ideas na gusto nating gawin in the very near future para masolusyonan itong mga global problems na na-identify. And then pangalawa, gusto rin po namin kuhain ng inyong significant commitments to take action in line with such solutions na ma-identify po natin later on. And then lastly, for us to create a global movement to enable and accelerate healthy and sustainable food consumption. So tayo na mga participant nitong i-dialogue na ito will have a global movement na mag-start dito sa atin sa Philippines. Na actually nag-start na rin naman ito sa maraming lugar sa buong mundo. So ito po yung ating gustong gawin for this action track, for this dialogue. So now we will go to the next slide, which will be on identifying issues, concerns, challenges, and root causes. So umpisahan po natin ito sa atin pong mga panelists na nandito. Meron po bang gustong mag-volunteer na mauna, na mag-discuss ano po yung mga issues, concerns, challenges niyo sa inyo pong mga sector? Ito po ang na-identify po nating sector dito ay una si Siwela from the academe, research and academe, and then siguro mga NGOs. So actually we have about 3 NGOs and also some farmer groups na nililid po nung ating ilan sa mga panelists. Sa isang academe din, although parang hindi ko pa po siya nakita, si Miss Salvador kanina. And then also of course si Ma'am Engle for the food manufacturers. So yun po yung mga na-identify po natin mga sector. Meron po ba na gustong mauna na mag-state ng kanilang mga
Sure,
issue?
I'm happy to
Yes,
go
Ma'am
first
Carla. Yes,
because
po.
I don't know how long I'll have the connectivity.
Yes, ma'am. Good po. Okay po.
So this is a great topic, and in terms of facilitating a transition in diet towards more nutritious foods that require few resources to produce, what we're doing here in El Nido, we've been holding regular community pantries, like many other parts of the Philippines, to help
Yes,
people
ma'am.
who have lost income due to loss of jobs because of COVID. And what we're doing with the community pantry is to introduce community edible gardens and seed saving, so we can start having community seed libraries, community edible gardens. And what we're growing is, I'm piloting this now where I live, and what we're doing is we're just choosing the vegetables that grow easily. If you just leave it, it's gonna grow. So all of us are familiar with these vegetables like talbos, ng kamote, talinum, alugbati, the perennials in the Philippine food ecosystem. And we're also going to be teaching like how to make optimizing our local produce, introducing ways of preparations, and also teaching the health benefits of the local indigenous produce and the healing power of food and the healing benefits of our medicinal plants. I think the older generation knows this, and it's, primarily passed on orally. It's an oral tradition. But we wanted to produce something that's easy to replicate, so we can share this model with other communities in the Philippines who want to replicate the community seed libraries, the community edible gardens, and even having community nurseries. For example, if I think the big advantage of being outside the densely populated areas is there's still land where we can plant. The soil is good. The soil is available. It's not all concrete. And we're starting community nurseries of fruit trees and trees that we can plant in food forests, so that this addresses food sovereignty, seed sovereignty, first of all, that we're not relying on corporations to buy our seed, but we are saving our own seeds that are not hybrid. They're the open pollinated variety. And this also like contributes to protecting and like making sure we have biodiversity, which has taken many, many years of evolution in these seeds. So to protect that and to also bring that art back so that you also, you spend less to grow food. You can save it. Like I'm always saving. Every day I save seeds of whatever I'm eating, whatever I'm cooking, and I plant it. And most of the time it sprouts. So it's like food giving you food again. And the missing link is just to have people get that seed instead of throwing it and put it in the ground. So it's awakening that the solution is actually there. It's in the food. The gifts that of nature are in the food, but it's up to us humans to make the most of these gifts. And then in terms of the second question, building consumer demand for sustainably produced food, this is what we're doing in the Living Library, which is based in Puerto Princesa, Palawan. And we find that there is a market of people who want to buy sustainably grown food, sustainably sourced food, and they don't want to buy it in plastic packs. So I think increasingly people, I feel like the business sector still needs to catch up with what consumers are ready for already in terms of wanting to come with their own containers to buy the rice, to buy the, and then also providing, we make bags out of kacha, the recycled flour sacks, just to provide people with their, in case they don't have their own containers, there's very affordable zero waste solutions already provided. So I think this is part of the whole, the whole system, which is a theme of today, right? We want to address the whole system and come up with solutions that address the whole system. And lastly, the food waste component is addressed because the edible gardens use the food waste to create healthy soil and compost. So that incorporates it as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that sharing, ma'am. Maybe we can include one of the identified is on also the packaging for sustainable. Yes. Okay, include na lang sa blend. Sige po, Miss Ruelas. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can.
Thank you. Hi, Carla.
Hi, Tessa.
Wow, that's a great list. You started with Carla's mga solutions that you're already doing. And so it actually points to what I wanted to bring up, which it all starts with what our mindset is, what our consciousness is around food, which in so many ways is totally wrong, if I can just be blunt, no? Like, for example, we are an agricultural country. Our stand is always, there is no reason that we should go hungry. And yet we have so many patterns around food. Our food culture is really destructive to nature and to each other. For example, most of the consumers don't know where their food comes from, who grows it, and how it is grown. Yung pala GMO, yung pala chemically, raised with a lot of chemicals, which is destructive to our health. So there's an unconsciousness of that. Who grows your own food and how do they grow it? The second is that I see a lot, both in the farmers market as well as in our project on Grow It Yourself, is back to that agricultural thing, is people don't feel that they can really grow their own food, especially in the urban communities where, we work with the urban poor and they live on top of each other with very small areas. But in just about 6 weeks, they are growing their own food. So changing that mindset that you need a big piece of land. If you're in the city, that can happen. The other thing also that I wanted to bring up is really who it is that we support, right? and how we give our government support, right? We think that feeding the hungry or solving the hunger problem is to give them mass-produced food, which again is very unhealthy, instead of really putting in their budget to help people raise organic gardens and organic farms. So I'll just stop there because I'm sure I want to give others a chance, but those are the mindset things that really need to be changed.
Thank you,
Thank
Ma'am
you.
Ruelas, for that sharing of some of the issues. Maybe Sir Justin? Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I'll try to give my overview or insights with different layers. Mom earlier mentioned about the something about lack of consciousness of people were on the food they're eating, and I think it's also a part of which is because of the distribution patterns that we have in the country, especially on the food. That's why there are other regions or places in Philippines alone that are hungry. Well, there are different factors coming in, but if you consider that the main producers are somewhere else, and there is a link that is missing on how we can distribute food. So it's a matter of how we can localize the food that we are trying to access in. And the other problem would be on our local experience is on the perception itself on producing food and agriculture. Coming from the youth sector, of course, the youth is reluctant for the most part in doing agriculture activities. And some of the youth are more interested in other practices, which in turn, especially in this pandemic, have been sort of developing. We are in the volunteering sector in the Pasito Organic Garden in Anahaw, Laguna. We are trying to work on this, like making or how to make agriculture sexy and attractive. So aside from doing gardening, we also integrated with other traditional or usual things we are doing to attract the market. For example, integrating it with arts, integrating it with development, environmentalism, and even marketing or business. So we conducted actually several activities. Just this year, we conducted an art exhibit featuring local artists of Laguna, but also we are introducing that in the urban spaces in Pasita or in San Pedro, Laguna, that there exist people or group of community gardens that are going into or doing natural farming following organic agriculture principles. So for now, for others as well to other inputs on, that's two of the things that I am seeing as the most pressing at the global level and the distribution patterns, and also from the youth sector, youth level, that there's lack in interest and attractiveness on doing agriculture. That's why our consumption patterns are also affected. I mean, to cut the long story short. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Justin, for that sharing. Naka-capture naman po yung ating po mga sinasabi ng ating documenters. Ang galing nga, ang bilis nilang mag-capture ng mga issues na name-mention. Siguro we go next to Miss Engle. Sorry Ma'am Ruelas, accommodate po na muna natin si Miss Engle. Thank you po. Miss Engle, sige po. On your part naman po sa processing aspect po, ay ano po ang mga issues po related to what we are discussing? Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking kasi bale, for kami, tingin ko our purpose would be to cater to the base of the pyramid population in the urban communities. And sabi nga kanina may nag-mention na merong like kung naandun sila sa urban area, parang hindi nila alam na pwede naman pala mag-grow in a small area ng mga what they like vegetables, gano'n, no? Parang what is lacking would be the protein. No, parang medyo madali ka magtanim ng mga talbos-talbos, mga ganon. Pero you would need protein. So ang amin siguro na ang amin na job for that would be to distribute protein. But we kasi considering na like dito sa base of the pyramid, no, many of those don't have refrigerators. That's why we are producing shelf-stable, high-protein foods. And these are high-protein foods which are, noon nga, dito sa Philippines, like we use vegetable protein as to lower the cost. Pero parang it seems like it's not just about lowering cost of the protein source. It's about sustainability then, because yun nga, bale, less carbon footprint kapag your protein source is from plants. That's why so bale, parang like we will be producing a low cost halimbawa canned products, no, that they could combine pangsahog nila sa vegetables that they could grow by themselves, no, kasi yun nga, protein ang kulang nila eh. And magbiyahe pa sila, although yes, you could buy mga galunggong ganon, pero mahal din, sobrang mahal din ang galunggong, no. Kaya parang yan siguro ang aming parang mission, no, kasi like for a big company, we are able to buy protein sources at a low cost, no, that we could pack in shelf-stable formats that we could sell to the urban poor, the base of the pyramid, no. And the help needed then, which we are already starting. We have a CSR kasi, we have a CSR group in our company. CSR, what's CSR again? Parang our outreach, mga ganon, CSR. I forgot the meaning of CSR. They do help the urban poor have the parang prepare recipes. They suggest recipes like halimbawa, you have a can of sardines, so lagyan mo ng ganitong gulay. You have a can of tuna, lagyan mo ng ganitong gulay. So that's one of the initiatives that we as a company, I think, should do, no, to have nutrition education to the base of the pyramid. Basta parang doon ka be focused to the base of the pyramid. Although we also have something na medyo pang high end. That's why just last year we came out with a plant-based product. Our brand is Unmeat. I don't know if you've heard about that. We have, because we are also supporting a shift to a plant-based diet. So we have the Unmeat brand, but medyo high-end yun, no? So we could have Unmeat to support yung sustainability naman, na you have less carbon footprint because you don't use a lot of animals as source of the meat. Then for the urban poor, yun, yung mga recipes so that they could combine a shelf-stable source of protein, which are usually plant-based, with the vegetables that they could grow themselves.
Thank you, Ma'am Engle, for that sharing. So we go back to Ms. Ruelas. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Sorry. I just wanted to build up on what Sir Justin,
yes,
Mr. Anahaw, said about the distribution of food, that we have found out, especially during the pandemic, that most of the country, is very high in importing versus growing their own food. What is that about, right? Again, it's this mindset that if it's imported, it's better, it's healthier, etc. When we are learning very quickly how our local indigenous crops are the most climate resilient and the healthiest. We do have a lot of high protein vegetables in our beans, in adlay, etc. And the reason that a lot of them are expensive is because they're not accessible The seeds are not accessible. That's why people, I think, soybeans, which I know UPLB is actually has given to us as seed savers. Carla and Kai Farms gave our seed savers Adlai seeds, and we also found out we have local Adlai. So it does not have to be expensive to be organic as long as they're supported. And then one more thing, sorry. Even before the pandemic, we really approached the feeding centers because there are a lot of well-meaning corporate social responsibility, ma'am, na CSR, in which they love to be charitable, so we want to use that giving energy and spirit by having them also again change their consciousness that all these years and generations of feeding programs is really just creating people who are waiting to be fed instead of using these charitable donations to help them raise their capacity to grow their own food in terms of communities. And that's what we're really doing. And it's really, the track record for that is starting to be shown. So, I just want distribution, our ideas of distribution and accessibility to food also needs to be changed. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ma'am Ruelas. Maybe we just have one more. Pwedeng mag-share pa po ang isa pang tao, isang participant kasi po we only have about 13 minutes left. And then we go to the next step which will be on the clustering these issues. And then later we go to the identifying some solutions on this. Sige po, meron pong gusto pang yun pala si Ma'am Wela.
Dennis,
Yes, ma'am.
have we asked? Yes, from the academe.
Yes, ma'am, si Wela po. Wela, sige po.
Okay. So hello po ulit. So ako as part of this team, so yun nga po, so researcher and nandito din po sa academe. So kami po sa post-harvest, we've seen a lot of food losses kasi from the production hanggang makarating sa retailers. And then at the same time, pag start sa retailers until ma-consume, malaki po talaga yung losses or waste na pag nasa retail na. So siguro as part of the university, pwede po nating yung issue kasi kung paano rin natin ma-minimize yung losses. So ang role namin is to parang ma-educate somehow.
Yes.
So yung sinishare kanina, i-educate din natin yung mga consumers kung ano yung mga food options. Kasi along the chain, kung dahil naman sa nutrition, may losses din po. During post-harvest, nadi-decrease na kaagad yung vitamin C content, kahit hindi pa siya naluto. So, pwede nating i-educate yung ating mga consumers na kung paano ma-reduce ang losses, and then at our homes, kung paano natin makikip properly yung food. And then, advantage nga po, kung makakapag-produce pa tayo ng sarili nating food, or yung mag-grow tayo ng ating mga sariling gulay, mas less po talaga yung loss kasi mag-harvest tayo kung kailan lang natin kailangan. And then, yun nga sabi, makaka-grow tayo in small areas, pwede po tayo mag-provide ng food options na magiging parang balance yung diet. So, hihingin na natin yung tulong ng nutrition. So, ano ba yung dapat nating food combination? Parang ganon. Para dun sa suggestion ni Ma'am Engle na kailangan may protein, may carbohydrates, parang kung paano, halimbawa, ang i-grow ba natin ay kangkong, okra, talong, ganyan. Or kung ano yung magandang combination na i-grow natin, at the same time, makukuha natin yung needed nutrients para hindi naman puro fiber, hindi puro carbohydrates, for example, yung magiging imbalance pa rin. Kasi isang issue yun na pinakita ni Sir Dennis kanina, na possible na maging very high tayo sa fiber, nagkulang naman tayo sa protein, yung ganun po. So, pwede tayong mag-suggest ng kung ano yung i-grow. So, para siyang matrix or table. So, yun yung isa kong nakikita. Para yung diet na mapuproduce nila at their own backyards ay ano pa rin, parang balance pa rin. With the addition of fish na bibilhin na talaga and some meat. Ayun po. And then yun nga po yung sinasabi na ni Ma'am kanina, yung sardines, ada natin kunyari ng saluyot para mas na-enrich yung ating pagkain or na-fortify ng natural source ng nutrients. Ayun po. And then at the same time, i-teach din natin yung mga post-harvest technologies dahil yun yung aming expertise kung paano natin ma-prolong yung shelf life ng ating mga fresh fruits and vegetables. Ayun.
Thank you, Ma'am Wela. So,
educating our
Yes,
consumers.
actually, I would like to end kasi nakalagay na doon sa ating sticky note yung educating consumers. Maybe on the other side, also educating producers. So yun yung nakita ko doon, nakuha ko kay Ma'am Wela na hindi lamang yung consumer regarding their nutrition o yung available na food para sa kanila. And even yung ating producers in terms of post-harvest and even in terms of production. Actually, nabanggit na yon ni Ma'am Carla kanina na yun nga, we can get our own seed from doon sa initial produce natin. So para maging sustainable yung production. So hindi kinakailangan laging bibili ka ng seed mo from the big companies or kung yan saan yung source ng seeds. Tapos yun, may nabanggit lang, gusto kong idagdag siguro from dun sa isa sa mga panel, yung decreasing losses and wastage, we can value adding. So even yung ating waste can be converted into something valuable. So magandang magandang input yon from our panelists. Thank you po kay Ma'am Marife na Santiago. So kaipilido ko pa si Ma'am. So baka magkamag-anak kami. So it's one thing din po. Meron pa pong gustong i-add. Basahin ko lang din po si Ma'am Yet po de los Reyes ay meron din pong binanggit dito. One main aspect of distribution is the fact that while vegetable can be organically grown, the retailers lack the proper knowledge to handle this vegetable to maintaining their being chemically free. So sa reality din po na tama si Ma'am na syempre yung mga retailers na yun would want the shelf life to be longer. Pero in effect, hindi na nasisira na yung kanyang quality as an organic produce. So siguro tama yung binanggit kanina regarding dun sa educating even our retailers. So bukod siguro sa consumers, the producers, and even the retailers should be educated on this. So thank you Ma'am Yet dito. So may kwento siya. So hindi ko na lang po babasahin yung kwento. Medyo mahaba yung kwento. Meron pa pong gustong magdagdag para ng mga certain issues na pwede pa po natin na binanggit po ng ating timekeeper na we have 20 minutes pa po pala left for our discussion before we go doon sa ating clustering ng ating mga issues. Yes, Ma'am Engle, nag-open po kayo.
Yeah, oo. Sir, kasi bali sa manufacturing, di ba, we really require parang a big quantity, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yun ang problema namin. Like ngayon, we would like to organize actually we would like to put up like a onion drying facility, kahit kami ng ng onion drying facility, pero that would require siguro yung mga farmers, halimbawa co-op sila, ganun, yung mga cooperatives, kasi kapag mag-put up kami ng dryer, madami ang kailangan na na raw mats na dapat ipasok mo doon. No, so yan siguro maitutulong sana ng government or whatever organization na yung co-ops for the small farmers, kasi madaming, like isa doon is onion, isa is bell pepper. Bell pepper, malaki din ang requirement namin doon. No, ngayon we buy some bell peppers like sa Mindanao namin for the tuna afritada, tuna mga ganon. We buy some bell peppers pero hindi enough kasi we also help some yung mga nearby communities namin doon. We help the farmers. That's part of our CSR then. We help the farmers plant vegetables that we need. Pero kulang pa din. No? So malaki pa rin talaga yung opportunity for farmers to have the market of their produce if they are organized. Medyo mahirap kasi for a company na parang isa-isang farmer ang kausap mo kung small landholder. So yun, kapag they have a co-op, mas madali sana. And yun, example nga is bell pepper and onion. Sobrang laki ng requirement ng onion.
Thank you, ma'am, for that.
And we could set up the dryers. Kasi gusto din namin na dry para kasi ang production namin all throughout the year eh.
Yes, ma'am, para shelf life should be longer. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Thank you for that, ma'am. Maybe later we can connect with some of the farmers group kung meron pong pwedeng mag-commit doon sa need na yon ng industry. Si Ma'am
Yeah.
Vicky po ay nag-raise hand, so I want to recognize si Ma'am. Sige, Ma'am Vicky.
Maybe I can connect Ma'am Engle with Dr. Myra Borines from the College of Engineering, Agro-Industrial Technology, Department of Chemical Engineering. Kasi may project siya on drying of onion leaves. Okay, so ang project niya is naka-base sa north. So pagka kasi hina-harvest yung yung onion, marami natatapon. So what they do is to dry the onion leaves. And then ngayon, I think they have already designed many dryers and humahanap siya ng ng of the dried leaves para maging ingredient. Okay, so maybe I can connect Century Pacific with the Department of Chemical Engineering in UPLB with regards the requirement for onion. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, yung pong technology on drying was
so yun yung nasasabi kanina ni Bess.
Yes, ma'am. Was initially developed sa amin naman po sa Institute of Food Science and Technology. Ka-collaborate po kami doon ni Dr. Borines doon sa project na yon. So we can also link with you, Ma'am Engle. And even for the farmers, kung sila po ay meron ding ganung kung sila naman ang gusto mag-develop din ng kanilang drying facility and even the technology, we at the academy can also teach them. Kasi nga, pwede namang ang market nila ay sina Ma'am Engle or ang industry, pwede rin namang ang sila Ma'am Engle ang mag-produce ng drying facility. So it can be different actions na pwede nating magawa. Sige ma'am, meron pong mga iba pang mga comments dito. So we need to encourage farmers to go organic and connect them to possible market. So yung kanilang connect then with the market. So yung na meron nga silang produce pero hindi nila alam pa kung saan nila i-market. So yun yung isang na-identify po dito sa chat. Meron pa po na si Mang Ruelas, meron ding chinat. We need to be educating them, farmers siguro to at saka yung ma'am, paki-clear po, sino po yung specific na i-educate ma'am doon sa inyo pong comment? Ma'am Teresa. Ma'am, nakamute.
I was responding to Ms. De Los Reyes's comment about
yes, ma'am.
Retailers lack the proper knowledge to handle these
retailers.
Vegetables.
Yes, ma'am.
Retailers. So that's who it is. Our farmers who sell at our farmers market. Yeah, they have consciousness naman. At least, no, they make a lot of kombuchas and pastes and vinegars out of added fruits. We have a Cooks Alliance that also helps in that. But yes, overall education on how do we not lose nutrition when we're using natural preservatives and that kind of things is needed. Yun lang.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for that. So yun, so nagkaroon lang ng meet regarding doon sa ano yung mga kailangang i-educate sa kanila yung sa retailer. So yung mga specific na need nila in terms of education. So I think we have so many sticky notes na dito sa atin pong job board. Then maybe we can allot this time naman po for grouping these issues and concerns po na na-identify natin. Maybe later we can even add more kung meron pa kayong dun sa mga groupings. Pero yun po yung ating gawing duty po ngayon. I-group po natin sila into at least 3 to 4 na siguro 3 would be a good number na group of challenges. Kasi ito po ay may mga overlap sa isa-isa't isa. So yun po yung ating gawin. Sige Sir Denver, ready na po ba yung ating next slide para po doon sa grouping? mukhang may kinreate na Sir Denver si Kath dun sa 5. Kath, kung ito ay initial grouping mo na nagawa na.
Yes po, sir. Based lang po dun sa kung paano po mag-group. Pero pwede pa naman po mag-comment po.
Sige po. So ito po, merong kinreate po si Kath, yung ating co-documentor. So initially ay naglagay siya ng mga sticky notes from different participants natin into different groups na para medyo matulungan po tayo. Maybe we can just agree kung okay na ba yung grouping or meron ba tayong pwedeng ilipat na mga sticky notes. Ma'am Vicky, naka-raise hand po kayo?
Gusto ko lang basahin yung comment sa chat ni Dr. Jane Reyes.
Sige
Sabi
ma'am,
niya
sige
dito,
ma'am. Yes, po.
in Bukidnon, organically grown fresh produce sold with similar farm gate price as conventional but sold in supermarkets in Cagayan de Oro as naturally grown with higher price. So it's important that we educate stakeholders across the supply and demand chain. Kasi nga, not all brown rice are organic. Siguro ito is sa mga mislabeling ng mga
Yes, ma'am.
ng mga organically produced products. Ayan, nag-agree si Ma'am Teresa.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you po, Dr. Reyes, for that comment po. And sorry po, hindi ko agad nabasa. So tama po 'yon. Meron po talagang mga ganyang mislabeling na nagiging mahal even if hindi naman talaga siya naturally or organically grown. So thank you for that comment po. Should we include that sa one of these sticky notes? Sige, Sir Denver, na lang kung saan yung mislabeling. So tama po 'yon. So thank you, Ma'am Vicky, for that. Ma'am Lina, sige po. Meron po kayong dadagdag pa.
Yes, sir. Gusto ko lang din, no? Kasi sa organic agriculture, ang isa nating intention nga is fairness. So ang gusto rin natin ay makuha rin ng mga magsasaka talaga yung tamang kapalit ng kanilang mga produce. Kasi nga, sabi nga ni ma'am, no, kahit naturally grown or organically grown, pareho lang yung presyo na kinukuha sa kanila at farm.
Tama.
Presyo lang ng mga conventional produce. Pero pagdating sa markets, ang taas ng presyo. So, sinong nakikinabang doon? So, gusto nga natin
yung retailer.
Fairness. Oo, yung fairness nga na dapat sa magsasaka pa lang ay nakukuha na nila yung sapat or yung tama para sa kanila din.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that po. Meron din pong binanggit si Ma'am Ruela. Siguro we have to include this. Yung importance of the creation of the PGS or with legitimizing PGS as organic certification, which is affordable for the farmers. So identified din po naman namin during our initial discussion na etong regarding dito sa certification is one of the problem din ng mga farmers. So actually, nag-start naman na po. It was put into law naman. Nandun naman na siya sa bagong law on organic agriculture, yung regarding the PGS. So, at least ay somewhat it is being addressed naman. So, yung para na napakamahal talaga kasi nung certification cost for organic produce and even for organic mode of farm producing this produce. So, yun. So yan. So siguro yung isa yung certification din. Yung ilagay natin yun. At saka in-identify nga yung sa low price na receive ng farmers pero nabebenta naman din siya at high price. Sige po. Sige po. I-add po na lang natin yung gustong i-add. Okay? Wala na? Okay na tayo. Ma'am Rina, okay na po?
Clustering na po ba tayo?
Yes, ma'am. If okay po. So kung okay po sa atin na we go for clustering kasi medyo madami-dami na po yung ating na-identify.
Yes.
Para ma-manage po natin yung ating time ay kasi medyo later ay madami pa din tayong gagawin para din po magkaroon tayo ng time for lunch. Kasi po later ay to avoid working lunch ay gawin po natin ng kaunti. So regarding clustering, so you can comment po regarding dito sa mga sticky notes na nakadikit po dyan. Meron pong initial na 3 grupo ng sticky notes. You can suggest to put one of the sticky notes to the other side. So may mga ganun po. So pwede pong mag-suggest po. So we have, sabi ni Ma'am Juana, ay 7 minutes to do this, yung clustering. We should ang goal po natin ay ma-cluster siya into 3 or 4 po. Sige, Ma'am Ruelas. Sige po.
It's actually a question lang. Di ba they already, the documenters clustered it na?
Yes,
I'm curious lang what titles they have per cluster baka so that we can
Yes, Ma'am.
how
Actually,
did they, what was their thinking?
if we agree with this clustering na, and then we can put some, yan po, naglalagay na po si Kath ng some titles. So production challenges, and then ganyan po. So we can also put that already. So kung yun po ay okay na sa inyo or gusto pong mas may detalye yung titles natin, you can also suggest po. And then later on kasi tatapatan po natin ng mga ambitious ideas and also goals. So nakalagay po sa atin ay last 5 minutes. Sige, Ma'am Rina. Sige po.
Sir Dennis, may comment lang kanina sa isa sa participants, hindi yung panel, no, na
Apo.
to change lang daw yung term na lack of. Kasi
Apo.
meron naman, baka hindi lang sapat.
Low po yung sinasuggest ni Ma'am. Nakita ko rin
So
po
for
yun kanina.
example, lack of government support. Siguro meron naman, pero baka inadequate. So
Apo, inadequate or low.
palitan na lang po yung mga lack of. Thank you po.
Yan, sige po. Sige, yan. So yung lang siguro, inadequate government support. Yan. Kasi nakikita naman din natin ang support ng government po. So hindi naman talaga totally zero. Okay, so mukhang medyo yung lack of land access in urban areas, baka yun talaga yung proper term, lack, or hindi parang kasi urban areas talagang may limitation regarding the land access.
Or pwede kaya, Dennis, limited access?
Sige, Ma'am, okay lang po. Limited access.
Sir Dennis?
Yes, Ma'am.
Possible ba na yung clustering natin is based on what we're supposed to do?
Ito, Ma'am, sa taas, yung
Opo.
build consumer
Dito
demand
lang,
for sustainably
I don't know
produced
if
food.
ganon yung lumabas sa challenges identified.
Yung kasing strengthen local value chain would be on the production challenges. Siguro yun po yung kanyang kaparallel. And then, yung in terms of nutrition, may mga na-identify naman tayo yung regarding sa educating the consumers. Although pinag-isa kasi natin siya into educating consumers, retailers, and producers. Yun yung medyo yung demand siguro, I think pwedeng nandito siya sa may institutional challenges po. Doon siya medyo malapit. Kasi yung transition to organic produce, yung educating consumers na andyan, capacitating consumers to produce their own nutritious food, so nandyan siya. So mukhang yun pong institutional challenges is related doon sa atin pong creating demand for sustainable. Sige po, you can help me po with the clustering and also the titles kung mayroon po tayong gusto. Yung pong institutional challenges can be more specific pa na title. Sige, Ma'am Vicky, Ma'am Rina, and even our panelists, you can also help. You have 2 minutes daw po. Please wrap up.
Sir, itong how to produce high-value products, pwede kayang ilipat sa production challenges?
Sige, Ma'am.
How to produce.
Actually, even yung capacitating consumers on how to produce their own nutritious food can also be there.
Sir, kasi
Hello, Dennis.
Yes, sir. Sir Glenn. Yes po.
Yes, I was just looking at this. I'm observing lang, but
yes, ma'am.
I just want to emphasize something baka radical tong sinasabi ko, but I want paano papasok dito yung root ng ating problem talaga. Ay, not the root really, but it's breastfeeding. I think that's we have to go back on that kasi sa organic, ganon, it's environmentally friendly. Bukod sa institutional challenge natin. We start with that. Feeding, that's the organic eh. Usually, ang nangyari yan, formula ang ginagawa ng mga tao. So, sira na agad yung one. Parang medyo malayo, but breastfeeding is one of the, I may say, a very organic kaysa formula milk and quinoa. You have to encourage breastfeeding. Yun ang that's the most, I may say, organic.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. We can include
Pwede
that.
natin ipasok siya.
Yung pong ating mga documentors, please input po. We have 17 seconds, 15 seconds. So maybe
Okay,
as
thank
we
you.
go back to the next session po later, we can continue with the clustering po. Okay po. So we have 5 seconds na po. See you po sa ating pong main hall. Thank you, sir.